What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a banger on the second channel. I figured that I wanted to do a bit of a mini-series on this channel, where every month I stop in and tell you guys what I've been smoking on lately, and what my favorites are for the month. I figured this could be a fun little thing, so fuck it, we're doing it. Hope you guys enjoy this video, drop a like if you do, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and also, we are going to be bringing back the Rating Bud series on this channel, so for those of you guys who want to enter in that, make sure to follow my Twitter, which is linked in the description. All you got to do is just tweet some pictures of your weed at me, and you might get into the video. But, either way, without further ado, actually, no, there is further ado, because listen, I know I'm going to get a million comments. I'm not putting pictures up. I'm not one of those weirdos who has to take a picture of every little bit of good weed he smokes. You know why? Because I smoke good weed every second. Every day, alright, so we don't need to take pictures, but nevertheless, we're going to talk about it. Make sure to drop a comment telling me what your favorite smoke of the month was. But let's start it off with my fifth spot, right? My number 5 best pick, which was a fairly generic strain, but from a not-so-generic cultivator. I had some wedding cake while I was out in LA from Cannabiotics, and this was fairly recent. This was the beginning of the month, right? This was, like, literally right after my birthday and New Year's, and when I was out in LA filming with Yola, I stopped by a couple dispensaries and I bought a whole bunch of different bud. I bought some from my favorite Cali cultivators, which are usually Canatique, Backpack Boys. Cannabiotics is pretty good. Cure Company, you know, those are typically the top shelf groups. But I saw this wedding cake, and normally it didn't appeal to me, right? Like, wedding cake, whatever, I've smoked the strain a million times. But I was at the dispo, and the bud tender, she pulls out the jar, and she opens it. And this shit is like tan. It's not even green. It was like tan. It was some of the craziest looking weed I've ever seen, and I bought it just solely based off of looks. Now, I brought it home. I didn't smoke it for a while because I was busy smoking my other shit. So I actually didn't smoke any of this until pretty recently. I saved it for a few weeks. But I busted out a couple bowls of this the other day, and that shit fucked me up. I'm talking brain dead, dude. I was sitting on PlayStation talking to my friends, and I kept stuttering. I was so baked. It was terrible. Not really terrible, actually fantastic. But the stutter part was terrible. But this shit got me ripped. That's my number 5 spot for the month. Now, coming in at number 4, we've actually got ourselves a concentrate. This is the only concentrate on this list, and reason being, I've been smoking a lot more flower than usual lately. I've been trying to kind of slow down on the dabs because I find that as soon as whenever I wake up and just dab immediately, I'm tired for the rest of the day, you know? I have like half the energy I normally do. So I've been trying to smoke more flower than usual, but this is the only exception to that. Coming in the number 4 slot, we have got some Tropical Cherries Live Sugar, and this is actually from Illinois. I got this from a cultivator called Grassroots here at my local dispensary. I'm telling you guys right now, this is some of the best flavored concentrate I've ever had in my life. It really does taste like cherries almost. It's got a super, like, deep, like, sweet flavor to it. It's hard to describe. It's almost overly sweet, but I kind of like that, you know? Like, it's got that, like, fake cherry taste, you know what I'm saying? Like the Cherry Jolly Rancher almost. This stuff tasted fantastic, and it got me so fucked up. Now, personally, sometimes I like when concentrates are a little harsher, you know? Not, like, super harsh, like burnt, but I take dabs that are fairly higher temp because I love that little lung punch feeling when I take a dab. This shit beat my ass, boys. Like I'm talking one of the most aggressive lung punches I've ever gotten, but in all the right ways, because throughout the entire thing, it never lost the flavor. Even on the exhale, it always tasted like that artificial cherry flavor, and I loved it, because it was very sweet, but it wasn't super overpowering. It was just right. I've never had a concentrate that tasted anything like this before, and if you guys ever get the opportunity to try this strain, give it a go. Tropical Cherries gets a thumbs up from me. Very nice strain. Now let's move on to the number 3 spot for this month. This one, I would have put this number 1, but I didn't because I've smoked this plenty of times before. Blueberry Cruffin by Canatique. I've talked about this strain before. If you guys have watched some of my videos on my main channel, you might remember when I discussed this strain. This is probably one of the most insane flower strains I've ever touched. And like I said, the only reason it's number 3 is because I wanted to give some new shit the opportunity to get number 2 and number 1. But honest to God, Blueberry Cruffin is definitely in the running for one of my favorite strains of all time. I don't think I've ever touched weed that smelled like this. It literally smells like you just walked into a bakery. It's crazy. It's got like a almost a combination of berries and cinnamon as the smell. And it is just crazy. You open the bag and all I bought was a little eighth of this, right? I got this while I was out in LA, just like the wedding cake. And all I got was an eighth. And you open the bag and the smell just fills the room. It's insane. I remember I went out to dinner with my buddy Attila. He's the guy who owns Cubis. And we were having some ramen, and we went to a dispensary, and I pointed out Blueberry Cruffin because he was asking, like, oh, do you see anything that's good? And I was like, dude, Blueberry Cruffin is one of the best strains I've ever smoked. I'm buying an eighth of that, right? I busted open the bag because he wanted to check it out, and he was like, holy shit, that smells crazy. Everyone that I've ever showed this strain to absolutely fucking digs it. It is... I haven't even gotten to the high yet, but just the aesthetics of it, the smell and the looks are crazy. Now, the high... This is one of the most, like, textbook, giggly, like, stone strains I've ever smoked. I'm talking, I could sit there and watch new episodes of Family Guy off this. That's how giggly it gets me. I would never watch new episodes of Family Guy. They're horrible. But off this shit, I could definitely watch that. Honestly, you could probably put on some bullshit, bro. Put on, like, My Little Pony, dude. Put on a Kool-Aid commercial. That shit'll have me crying. I don't care. I love everything about this strain. The only thing I would change about it is I wish there was more of it near me. I fucking love Blueberry Cruffin. If you guys ever get a chance, go get it from Canatique, man. Coming in with the number 2 spot now. We're heating up. We're heating up. If Blueberry Cruffin was number 3, I can't even imagine what's going to be number 2 and number 1. Well, actually, I can. I'm about to say it. Coming in at number 2, we've actually got some street weed this time. We've got some punch cake that I got from a good friend of mine. Now, I have a buddy who we're going to call him Larry, right? I think I've mentioned him in a few videos, but he worked at a smoke shop. I don't know if Larry's the name I gave him in my videos or not, but we're just going to roll with that. But either way, I met him because he worked at a smoke shop that I frequented, and we started smoking together fairly often, and I usually buy weed off him because he has a buddy who grows really, really good shit, and he gives me great prices. So he hit me up, and he was like, yo, I've got some really crazy kill. I'll get you a zip for $175. I was like, okay, yeah, let me come check it out. Now, normally when people say they have some crazy shit, you know they're just stretching it to sell it. But this guy doesn't sell weed full time. Like, this isn't his job, you know? He doesn't rely on the money from this. In fact, he doesn't really sell much weed at all. He just kind of stockpiles the shit. I've never seen the guy make a serve besides me. But I went over to his house and we were smoking. He busts out this big old mason jar. And he's just got this beautiful stash of some punch cake. And punch cake is a strain that prior to this, I don't think I've ever smoked before. Although it's a cross of purple punch and wedding cake, so it's probably fairly understandable as to why I liked it so much, because purple punch has Larry OG in it. And as you guys might know, Larry OG is one of my favorite strains ever. Such a throwback strain for me. So anything with that as part of it, I'm probably going to like it. But this strain was fantastic. He busted out these huge, beautiful nugs, and he's like, yo, I tried to give you all the big nugs, bro, and he hands me this vac seal bag, and it is just stuffed, dude, with the fattest nugs. I'm like, you are the best, bro. You know, street weed doesn't always have the finest trim, and this could have used a bit of a better trim, but once I got done just plucking off the extra sugar leaves and stuff with my hands, this stuff was fantastic. I still have a jar of this right next to me right now, actually. It's beautiful. I'm still smoking on this. In fact, I haven't bought any other dispensary flower since I ran out because I'm so satisfied with this shit. It's gas. It gets me ripped every time, and I absolutely love it. Shout out to my boy Larry for hooking me up with the punch cake for the nice price of $175 for the zip. You can't go wrong. Especially when dispensaries in Illinois are charging like what? Fucking $400 for zips, $350. Ridiculous, dude. So, I mean, big ups for this shit. Cali prices are even worse, actually. But the difference is there's no premium zips in Illinois. They're all popcorn nugs. In Cali, you could get like a $600 zip, but it's premium, you know? Can't really get that here. But either way, let's move on to the number 1 spot. Can I get a drum roll? I just smacked the shit out of my desk. Coming in at the number 1 spot, we have got ourselves a Backpack Boys strain. I brought this one home from Cali, and it was difficult for me to pick here because I was trying to decide whether I liked Italian Ice or Scottie Pippen more. Two great strains, but Italian Ice won it out. Italian Ice by Backpack Boys is, at least visually, probably one of the most gorgeous strains I've ever looked at in my life. But it doesn't just stop there. The flavor is so sweet. So is the smell. It really does smell like ice cream. It's crazy. You spark this shit up, and the flavor is the same, but it's so smooth. That's where it really stood out to me. Normally, if I roll up a blunt or I take a big bong rip or, something like that, a huge rip, I'll cough or I'll at least feel a little tickle in my throat or something, or I'll at least even feel the heat. With this shit, it was so smooth that as I was taking bong rips, I didn't even think it was hitting. I was like, bro, is it clogged? Like, is the downstem clogged? And then I exhaled and I was like, what the fuck? This was some next level mutant weed, dude. I don't know what the fuck kind of shit this was. What cross is this? I'm Googling this right now. I'll be right back. So from what I can find online, it's a cross of Gelato 45 and Forbidden Fruit. I like Gelato and Forbidden Fruit bangs too, so no surprise that I like this one. But honestly though, if you guys ever get a chance to try Italian Ice, go give it a go. The smoothest smoke I've probably ever had, quite honestly. But there's my top 5 strains for the month. Drop a comment letting me know what your guys' favorite smoke of the month was, and also if you've ever tried any of the strains that I just named. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a like as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, gamers.